Okay, this one gets kind of political. So I want to put a kind of trigger warning here in case you're not interested in listening to political opinions or the fight about politics as it exists today. I read The Tyranny of Dead Ideas by Matt Miller in 2011. The subtitle here is Letting Go of the Old Ways of Thinking to Unleash a New Prosperity. And I don't think the book was meant to be political. I actually think it was meant to be apolitical. But I gave it 1 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. And all of this is kind of the reason why I disliked it so much. So let's read the review and then we'll talk about it a little bit. In most things political, I am a fence sitter. I try to see the merit of both sides of any argument, and then when the time comes to make a decision or a vote, I take in as much evidence to support both sides and make the best choice I can with the information I have. I am a member of no political party. These things may be indicative of my career as a journalist. When I came to this book, I expected an unbiased account of problems facing us today and some profound paths towards positive change. Matt Miller is supposed to be the center on left, right, and center. No, that's the NPR show. The book reads like a formulaic rundown of liberal talking points. I was so frustrated by it that I nearly put it down multiple times. One such time is when he writes, I'm not trying to persuade you that these approaches represent the course we should take. I'm arguing that this is basically what's in the cards. Have you ever had someone say to you, I'm not trying to be mean, but just before they say something terribly mean? That's how I felt throughout this book. He says he's not persuading, but trying to convince someone of a new truth is exactly that. He consistently describes how and why things were chosen in the past, how and why they are going to fail, and then solves them with a mostly left-slanted idea that may be a terrific solution to a problem, but rarely addresses the desires of all the people affected by it. One of the most difficult things for me here was that before I read the book, I agreed with some of those solutions, but Miller made me feel so manipulated as a moderate that I found myself leaning back in the other direction. He presents his points as an assumed sell, and what that tells me is buyer beware. So much has changed since I wrote this review and since I read this book in 2011. Right away, I'm talking about being a fence sitter. I really felt like I was that back then. Things have definitely changed in the world in recent years. Gosh, doesn't even feel recent anymore. But with all the changes in politics, I am no fence sitter anymore. I am definitely on one side of the debate. That being said, I still do not subscribe. I still am not a member of a particular political party. I just very strongly disagree with one of them. My idea in coming to this book was trying to look for something journalistic or unbiased in nature. I was very excited that this moderate, or this supposed moderate, was going to take on some difficult issues that people were facing and then talk about solutions for it. I assumed that coming to it would be a balanced weight on both sides. But at most times in the book, both sides were never even considered. I'm actually going to talk about one of the ideas because it's something that I really would like to change in the world to make things better. But the way that Matt Miller described it in the book, it just ignored a huge section of the population that is arguing the other side. And really, I think for us to figure out a way to come together, we've got to figure out the what's in it for me for the people on the other side of these arguments. And I think that's even tougher today because of how polarized we are, how far away we are on so many issues. But in 2011, I think it was possible. And I guess maybe some of my anger even today, and going back to this 1 out of 5 review, 1 star out of 5 stars, is to think that the idea that someone who is meant to be a moderate or that someone was bringing something that was supposed to be unbiased to the public and was so slanted on one side, I think is some of the reasons why we are so polarized today, that we aren't really listening to other people's ideas. And even when I say I am now clearly on one side of the debate, I cannot see the other side, if we're going to try to solve the issues, we've got to figure out a way to listen to each other about things like this. And so the one that I want to talk about here, so there's like 7 or 11 different issues or concepts in the book, somewhere around that number. I don't remember exactly, and I don't remember most of them. I may even be forgetting some of the details about the one I'm going to share here. But one of the issues that they talk about is the way that school systems are funded and how they're basically funneled in through property taxes of the region surrounding the school. And Matt Miller suggests, something that I am completely in agreement with, that if we continue that way, then richer neighborhoods are going to continue to have more investment in their school system, and it's going to continue to widen the economic gap between classes. And I agree with that. But his suggestion of making things equitable, of spreading things out, doesn't take into effect what's going to happen to those other schools that are already sort of relying on that funding. You think about budgets and you think about the way things are happening. I want to make things more equitable too, but to just take away from one and give to another, we have to also consider what's happening to the people we're taking away from. And that, he's not talking about that here. I think we need a solution with that. I think we need to spread things out more. I think we need to figure out a way to tighten that gap, especially in education. But there was a reason why regional funding was created. And there are a number of people who are thriving through it. So we have to figure out how we can figure out the what's in it for them to make things more equitable for everybody. And this book doesn't do that. This book, it presents itself as a way to say that things are going to change and we're going to have to do it a certain way. And the reality is that that didn't happen, right? I mean, honestly, if we look back at where we've come from 2011, things didn't get more unified to the most degree in terms of politics. Things got further apart, and it's because we are not listening to each other and not figuring out ways to bring people together. So this book, even while it presented ideas that I wanted to agree with, didn't account for the people who were going to be upset by those ideas. And if we want those ideas to succeed, we've got to include everybody, because the constant fighting that we keep having about these ideas and our ways to solve them isn't getting us anywhere. It's just getting people more angry. And so, I go back to the thing and saying that I'm clearly on one side. I would like to try to figure out a way for everyone to come together. I don't think it's going to happen in 2024. In fact, I'm extremely scared for what's going to happen in 2024. But this book is not the way to do it either. So I gave it 1 out of 5 stars. Again, it's The Tyranny of Dead Ideas. There's a number of controversial issues here that, again, if you want to read the liberal side to solving them, you can go to this book and figure it there. But everyone has their own solutions, and those ideas are out there, and we've got to figure out a way to compromise. There are some things that we shouldn't compromise on, but if we want to figure out a way to work together, we got to start listening to each other. So all of that is to say, if you didn't get shunned off by the political trigger warning that I put at the beginning of this, and you want to talk about healthy debate for things in a way that listens to both sides, I definitely want to do that. We can talk here, we can talk on any platform, we can have a phone call about it. I think we should do that. This book just represents a poor debate, and we need to have healthy, respectful debate again. I think that's the only way to get better. So 1 out of 5 stars. If this got you interested in reading it, I'd be surprised. But it's out there. Maybe there's a SparkNotes version that can tell you the way that he tries to solve all the issues. The Tyranny of Dead Ideas by Matt Miller. Till next.